My name is Megan Thompson, and I was 34 years old the night my parents fired me from my own family by group message. It arrived at 7:42 on a Tuesday evening, 12 people on the thread, and it said, "We think it's best you step away for now." My Aunt Rhonda reacted with a thumbs up. That little cartoon hand sat under the words like a stamp on a form. I read it at my kitchen table until the screen went dark. Then I wrote back. Understood. I'll respect that and step away from the family fund, too. That night, I closed my contribution. At 2:15 in the morning, my phone started buzzing, and by sunrise, there were 89 missed calls. My dad's voicemail was the only one I played. What happened? The bank flagged everything. I sent back a single line. I'm honoring your decision. But here's what none of them knew that night. The fund was the smallest thing I'd been carrying. It would take my family 1 month to find the rest, one piece at a time. Welcome back to Calm Drama Stories, the channel where quiet women finally say enough and family secrets meet daylight. If you've ever been the one holding everything up, this story is for you. Drop a comment below and be sure to subscribe. I run a bookkeeping office on Front Street in Marietta, Ohio. 2 rooms above a hardware store, my assistant Kayla, and a coffee maker older than she is. Numbers are how I make my living, and honestly, how I make sense of people. A ledger never flatters anybody. It just tells you what happened, which is more than most families can say. I balance books for a living, and I know what a number looks like when it's lying. I grew up 12 minutes from that office across the Muskingum Bridge in a white house on Cherry Hill Road with a porch swing. My dad hung the summer I turned 9. Dad Frank spent 31 years as service manager at Callahan Ford Lincoln. He kept a pen in his shirt pocket and believed in oil changes and God roughly in that order. My mom, Carol, ran the women's ministry at First Baptist, and she ran our family's reputation the way generals run wars, with maps nobody else was allowed to see. My brother Danny is 3 years older than me. He fixes furnaces, married Jess, has 2 kids, a good heart, and no head for paperwork. Then there's Aunt Rhonda, my mother's younger sister, who has agreed with whoever spoke last since roughly 1975. From the street, we looked solid. Sunday dinners, matching Easter photos, a casserole on every grieving porch in the county. I believed in us the way you believe in a bridge you cross every day. You don't inspect it. You just trust that it holds. 6 years before that group message, a piece of county mail in a junk drawer showed me what my family actually ran on. I'd gone looking for batteries. I found the bill for everything instead. Father's Day 2020. The dealership had closed that March. Corporate consolidation they called it, which is a long word for 31 years fitting into one cardboard box. Dad was 57, too young for Social Security, too old for anyone to hire, and too proud to say either sentence out loud. At dinner, he carved the ham like nothing had a blade to it but him. After the pie, the TV remote died and I went digging through the kitchen junk drawer for batteries. The same drawer that has held twine, dead pens, and loose screws since the Reagan administration. Under a seed catalog, I found an envelope from the Washington County Treasurer. It was open. It was also very red. Delinquent property taxes, $4,910, past due. I stood there with a pack of batteries in one hand and my childhood in the other. Through the window, I could see Dad out in the garage wiping down a workbench that was already clean. I walked out there with the envelope, and he looked at it the way men look at diagnosis. The buyout on the pension came to almost nothing, he said quietly. Cents on the dollar. Lawyers got the rest. He was behind on the county, behind on the light bill, and a payment behind on a home equity line I hadn't known existed. Then he said the sentence that decided the next 6 years of my life. Your mother doesn't know the number. She can't. You know how she is about being seen. I asked him how bad it was going to get by spring. He picked up the rag again and wiped the same clean spot. That was the whole answer, and we both knew it. We built it in the garage that weekend, my dad and me, the way you build anything in a garage. Quietly and out of sight of the kitchen. I opened a checking account in my name only and nicknamed it the family fund. Every month on the first $2,400 would move from it into my parents' account, time to land before the home equity payment, the light bill, and the insurance drafts. The property taxes I would pay straight to the county myself twice a year, so no red envelope would ever sit in that drawer again. Dad had one condition, and he said it with his hand flat on the workbench like he was swearing on it. Your mother can never know how much and nobody else can know at all. I was 28. I said yes before he finished the sentence. Here is the part that still amazes me as a professional. The cover story wasn't mine and it wasn't Dad's. It was my mother's. Within a month, Carol had announced a family fund to the whole clan. A cheerful little kitty for emergencies and holidays. Everybody pitch in what you can. Aunt Rhonda put in $25 at Christmas and felt wonderful about it. Danny threw in $50 when his tax refund hit. And whenever anyone in town wondered how Frank and Carol were doing since the dealership, my mother would smile and say, Frank's retirement did well. She never asked me a single question about the account. Not one. In 6 years, the woman contributed castles and a slogan, and somehow she was the manager of the whole story. I did the math much too late. The person who puts in the least is sometimes the one who decides what the money means. 72 firsts of the month. That's what 6 years comes to if you're the kind of person who counts. And I am. $2,400 every month. Quiet as a heartbeat. When their furnace died in 2022, the fund bought a new one. $6,100 installed by my brother's company at cost, billed to a warranty Danny never looked at twice. When the roof started letting rain into the attic, I covered half, $4,800, and Dad told everyone he'd been saving for it. The fund refilled Mom's arthritis prescriptions. It kept the truck insured. It floated Danny's tool loan the winter his van broke, though he thanked Mom and Dad for that one, and they let him. Meanwhile, I drove a 12-year-old Civic and kept renting the little apartment above my office, telling myself a house could wait one more year, then one more after that. I want to be clear because it matters later. I wasn't a fool about it. In year 2, I sat my dad down and pushed to bring it into the open. Tell Danny, split the load. Make it a real family plan. He wouldn't move. His mother had raised him on a vow after some old trouble I only half knew, something about charity and shame. And he told me flat, if you make this public, I'll go to a bank before I embarrass your mother. I'd seen the kind of banks that wanted him, 14%, smiling. So I chose the smaller price and kept writing the quiet checks. It held like that for 6 years. My invisible arithmetic under everybody's feet. Then my brother decided to expand. Father's Day, June 21st, this past summer. Burgers in the backyard on Cherry Hill Road. Dad at the grill in the apron we'd given him a decade ago. Mom orbiting the picnic table with lemonade and stage direction. Danny stood up somewhere between the potato salad and the cake and announced he was opening a second shop out toward Belpre. Jess squeezed his arm. The kids cheered because he did. And then my mother, glowing like a woman revealing a prize, said, "And your father and I are lending him $25,000 to get it started from savings." From savings. I sat very still with a paper plate on my knee. I knew to the dollar what my parents had in savings because I was their savings. That $25,000 did not exist. Or rather, it existed in the future in 72 more firsts of the month. That hadn't happened yet. In my civic staying alive another 5 years, in the house I would keep not buying. Nobody